Good afternoon, everybody. It is me, Mark, and it is time for my Fix It Up Life Makes. And the big reveal here, a shelf bracket and organizer. Woo! That's right, we have a huge need here on this project for organization. And one of the problems that we face, that everyone faces, I think, challenges, is that we have like 10 things going on and they start to overlap. And I'm finding myself spending more time getting organized and organizing and moving this and that and this and that than doing what I need to do. So I've reached my limit and I want to get more organized, more Navy SEALs, more tuned in, tuned up. So long story short, I make shelf brackets and I screw them to the wall, but there are some details that I want to share with you because I think you'll like them. I hope you'll bear with me. They're pretty easy. They're screwed together. Wood 2x4s. You can buy new wood 2x4s. I recommend that because they're easier to work with than stuff that I've got left over. But don't ask me how it got to be that color. Anyway, this is an L, and I'm going to show you how I make that. So the first thing I do, I'm going to prop you guys up on a higher platform. First thing I do is, this one's 14 inches, this one's 18 inches. See? Then I screw them together like this. This one's 18 inches. You know what I mean? I really do know how to do this, and it was supposed to be simple. I've been working on this for weeks, actually, but what I found when I got into it is between the old house shuffle that I'm doing downstairs on this project, it's an old house, so there's a rubble wall. It took forever just to hang some shelf brackets, and I was gonna show you like start to finish. We'll be here for an hour. By the time I set up the camera angle and all that business, forget about it. So, a couple things. You don't need to be super trim carpenter guy, but you can do some fun trim tricks, and I'll show you all the cuts you need to make on one piece of wood. So the first thing we're gonna do is, I've made these cuts already. We're gonna put together the L. And the way I'm gonna do that is I'm going to use my saw deck, which I know is flat, and instead of taking and bombing in my 3-inch SPAC screw that I'm going to use for all of this, I'm going to pinch it with a 2-incher. That way, see, that screw is small and it goes in easily, and it doesn't push the wood fiber around too much when I have nothing to hang on to. So now that it's in there, I'm going to do this next. I'm going to cut the brace. And I did want to show you this because there's math, but not math. It's easy because you only need to know one trick. This is 90 degrees. You need an angle bracket, an angle brace across it. So what are those measurements? Everybody goes 45, 45, whatever. But you can also do a different combination of 45, 45. Here I've done 30. So on this side, and I've already marked it, I'm going to whip my saw over to 60. Why? Because you don't have to be Captain Trim Carpentry to do this. But, you know, it looks cool, so why not? So this is the way I do it. If you have to bridge, and the DIY takeaway here is, if you have to bridge, transfer, translate, transmute, transmogrify somewhere around 90 degrees, you do it with angles that add up to 90. So 30, 60. So now I'll show you that. Put this piece over here. We're going to come back. So because I've only used a 2-incher on this one, it's loose. It's loose enough for me to work on. How can I do this so you can see it? I will try to do it this way. This is a lot. But, do it this way. Yay! So I'm coming across 90. I know when I get my angles closed, I am 90 degrees. That's where they want to be. So again, this is all loose. If I can find it, I'll use my 2-incher again and pinch this. Now, here's another thing I'm going to do. I'm going to make a left and a right bracket, and I'm going to show you what that means when we go to where I've already installed some. But that means instead of centering this like this, which if I were making this, say, in a trim application, like to make a shelf or something in a living space, I would center it because it looks better. But because we're going to use this, it's going to get like triple duty. I'm going to make a left and a right, which means I have to push this over to the edge. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do here. And in this one, I will make a right bracket. I'm going to close up these angles. Boom and double boom. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. Again, using a 2-incher, I'm not moving a lot of wood fiber as I would with a larger but much more holding power number 10 by 3 multi-material HCRX screw. So now I've got this pretty much where I want it, and I'm going to put this together for you. Now I can push this out of the way, give myself a little room. Can you do it with a circular saw? Of course you can. Will it be as nice? Of course it won't. You can also make these, same idea, same measurements, same everything, out of 1x. So, like again, if you were doing a bathroom shelf or something that needs to look nicer than making it out of some 2x. These are for workshop organization. So I also know I'm going to drill a million holes in them to, I'm going to leave that here in case I need it again. Drill a million holes in them looking for an appropriate fastening connection area. I'm going to show you that in a second. So that's it. And it looks great. I also did this. See right there? And right here. Why? Does it need to look nice? No, it doesn't. It's going in a workshop. Do I want it to look nice? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to bring you with me. I haven't set this shot up yet, so who knows what we're dealing with. Oh, I want to show you one other thing. So when we make those clip cuts, what I do is 45. I find something on the saw, or I make a mark, so that I'm not making 1, 2, 3, 4 different clips. Instead, what I do, so I'll use the edge of the throat plate, for example, or I'll make a different mark. I got pencil marks all over here. But these I use the edge of the throat plate. So I take my piece, I line it up, I'll cut them both at the same time, and they'll be the same. That's Southern Pine right there, right? Oh yeah. Oh yeah! All right, let's take this puppy inside. We don't really need to take that puppy inside. I'll take that puppy just in case we need it. So sorry for the lighting change and all that. I'm gonna have to set this shot up again downstairs. But we're getting to how this all works. Oh my God, it's so much cooler down here. It's like 1,000 degrees outside. Okay, so here we go. This is the shelf organization area. And I did this 2 ways. As I was mentioning to you before, and this is where I got this idea for the left and the right shelf. See, that's a left, and that's a right. And this is why I just couldn't do all this without some pre-assembly. Here, in order to make a center shelf to maximize all this space, and there are some huge takeaways, and I'm going to write a blog at myfixituplife.com about this. I've got a little shelf support here, a shelf support here, another one here. And because the brackets are justified left and right, let me put you over here a little further. Because the blocks are justified left and right, I don't have to notch. Down here I did. So that's where I got that idea from. Okay, now, here's the other thing. And I'm not going to go crazy on this, but I do want to mention it because in this house, old house, I've got a parge coat over a rubble foundation. So it's stone. And what that means is the mortar joints, okay, who knows? And the mortar itself is so soft that it's really, really easy to drill a hole with my rotary hammer. And this one's left over from a fine home building tool review we did. It's really easy to just drill it basically into air. So that's why these aren't intended to look nice. But this thing here does something else too. I'm going to show you. One of the things it does at this point is it shares the load. So even if the screws that are in here aren't awesome, and they bit, I can get a couple in here so I can stack loads of lumber on top of this, and I still have this carrying some weight and holding it to the wall. So tell you right now, that went into nothing. Can you see the dust coming down here? I'll try to do this upside down. Okay. Rotary hammers, by the way, oh man. They're not the cheapest tool in the world, but if you have to connect to concrete or stone, so that got it. That bit, and I'll drill a few more holes later to make that work. It's about 7 o'clock at night. This is not a good idea. Oh, sweet honey pie! So I also took and connected this cross brace, which is going to come up later, to the brackets with toe screws. So that's part of it. Now, the next thing I did was I made a shelf like this. And this will fit in here. Because what I've done with brackets before is I've made them, I'm like, oh, you know, there's nothing in the middle, or you stack a pile of wood up here and it starts to get pushed out by the bracket. The thing about shop organization for me is two things. One, it's got to be visible. If you put your stuff behind doors, in buckets, in boxes, and you can't see it, you forget where it is. You don't use stuff every day, so you can't find it. So I like stuff to be visible. That way I know if it's here, and I know if it's been borrowed. So I'll zing a few screws in here, and I showed you my little outriggers, my little cleats for supporting the shelf out the edge. 1, 2. And I can come back and do this. You don't need to watch me do this, unless you want to. And if you want to watch me do this, you have to comment below. You guys have lights on your tools? I used to think they were gadget, gizmo, because they could create an LED, just whatever. They work. An app for a tool, like a real App Store, Google Play application for a tool. I'm not sure I'm all the way there yet. Maybe I'm too old school. Anyway, if you have an opinion on that, leave in the comments below. I'd love to know. So we're almost all the way there. So what happens next? I go off camera. But I will come back, and I will come back soon. Because now we're getting to game time. I've got my 1x12, which I had off camera. And now this is the top of my shelf. Not done yet. So what we can do is a couple of things. So now, with this up here, I could take and say, put paint cans. There you go. Got 50 paint cans on your floor. Now you don't. They're up off the floor. A super, super huge shop secret for me. If it's on the floor, it's in the wrong place. You want it up, you want it visible, you want it accessible so you can take it and you can put it back. It's not neat freak kind of stuff. No, it's not that. It's about access and ease. And also when stuff is visible, you can see it. So you're constantly reminded it's here. Oh, wait, I need a new saw blade. I'm running out of whatever. But the other thing that I love about this little system with the bridge in the middle is not everything is an 8-foot 1x12. Some stuff is this goofy stuff that you have left over from something else. That is where these shelves come in huge, because you can put the offcuts. You know you're going to need it. You know you're going to need some Gorilla Glue. So where do you put that? You put it right there where you can see it. And I love that. You know you're going to need to put your coffee cup down, so you can put it here. Then, when you get these things, like these little pieces of molding, this is left over from the kitchen, I know I'm going to use it. I know I am. You can take that stuff, which defies organization, and put it in places like this. What this system does, my invention of the 45-degree angle, is it gives you places. And I'm not done yet either, because you can also do big stuff. Again, this is where everybody stores their ladder. You know what I mean? That's where I store this one. But here, you can make it so that if you play your cards right, and I did not, I would have to add a block here to this side. And I got stuff on the floor, I can't get to it. I can do this. The idea is I can put screws on the side of that, and I have to add a block because this is on here. So I can just do this to illustrate the point. I'll do this to illustrate the point. I can take screws, and I can make a place to hang this. So now it's off the floor, it's out of my way, but I can still get it at the same time. So I want to show you one more thing, and then this video will be over, and I will just ask you all the normal stuff. Like, can you please comment? Can you please share? Can you please do all the stuff that you do? Join us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and our website, myfixituplife.com. We love to hear from you, of course. If you have any projects you want us to do, please let us know. We like inventing things, but we also like doing stuff for other people. That's part of why I got into this whole thing. So, just a simple, quick illustration. All this space is now usable. It's all usable. This wall was nothing. There's a pile of crap on the floor, and it's not doing anybody any good. Now, there is a place. And we're glad you joined our place. We'll see you on the next go around. I gotta put one more thing in here. Now we'll see you on the next go around.